Hello, we are live, and I am so happy to be on Facebook Live. I've been looking forward to today, and I am really excited to be talking to you once again about 3 truths about the overly productive woman. So one thing that I've realized in this 3-part series podcast, that's what I learned that the name of this is. I learned that today. But, the one thing that I've learned about this is that people saunter along and they don't exactly join right at 9 o'clock. So I want to just take some time to ease into tonight's session. I know there are a lot of lovely ladies out there who have been telling me that they look forward to tonight, and that this really is a place of calm and encouragement and just a place to come and relax and rest. So in the meantime, I'm going to check my battery because I just got a message that says I have low battery. Charged up. If not, it'll take me a minute to hook up to another power source and then we'll get going. So we will not be defeated. We will not be defeated. Actually, that's been my mantra all week, and I've thought that in my head, but now I'm speaking it out loud, that I will not be defeated. Before we jump into tonight, I just want to throw this out there, because there are times when, we have difficult days, and there are times when we really feel overburdened and overwhelmed, and I'm here to tell you that I am one of those people who struggle just like you do. As a matter of fact, before we started Facebook Live, I had 5 dogs within 100 feet of me, and they were all barking and going crazy, and there was just a lot of chaos and hoopla around me, and I'm just trying to get in here and get with my lovely ladies who are showing up tonight and wanting to be just filled with some joy and get your bucket filled. So I have to go through my struggles too. And one of the things, I see that Lisa just joined. Hi, Lisa. I like to talk about this, especially with Lisa on the call, but we talk about being in the eye of the storm. We feel like on a daily basis that we're in the midst of a storm. If you've ever been in a hurricane, you know that they're pretty rough and they're very difficult and they can become very dangerous. But our goal is really to get in that eye of the hurricane and just make sure that we're moving along with the storm instead of it moving us and hitting us in the head. So, all right, we've got a big night. This is our 4th in a 4-part series on 3 truths about the overly productive woman. And I'm going to just tell you that I have loved doing this series, and it has really helped me as much as it's helped you. So I'm excited to share with you 3 new truths tonight. And just so you know, in case you missed the first 3, those are available to you, and they are at no cost. I have them on my website, and you can get those. So if you happened to register to get access to the series on Facebook or through our Bright Bulb community newsletter, then you should have access to the page and you can always go back. Okay, I see my mom's joined and Sarah's joined. Hi! Yay! Thumbs up! So anyway, what I was saying is you can have access to the other 3, and what I've been telling people is, that's really good listening. So if you're going to the gym and you want to have some good audio, you can go right to the website, click on to the videos that I've done for each of the sessions, and you can listen. It's really good listening. And one of the things about the way that I present these sessions are, they're just informal. And I work very hard not to be scripted about it, because I just want the words to flow. And I know that before I get on these sessions, I am really saying, God, just let it come through. Just let the words come through, and whoever it's meant to hit, let it hit and let it resonate with them and let it bless them. So, some of you on the call, this is just, some of you are joining the call because you really do need some encouragement. Maybe you're facing some challenges with work, and maybe it's your relationship. Maybe it's other just personal challenges that you're having in your life. Well, you've come to the right place because I am here to fill your bucket. So, back to the website that I was telling you about. So, if the website is actually schoolofep.com, and if you go to schoolofep.com, then you'll notice that there's a link on there that says events and tips and tools. If you go to that events page, you'll see that you'll get to the events page and you'll see a button and it says the Overly Productive Woman series. You just click on that and you'll have access to all of the sessions. So tonight's session, I'll do the same thing. I will make sure that it's recorded. So if you want to go back and you want to listen to it or watch it again, you're welcome to do that. So, and also if for some reason you forget how to access it, just send me an instant message. I'll make sure that you get that, and my faithful friend and helper Whitney Omer will make sure that you have those links, because I want you to continue to soak. I want you to soak up everything that we're talking about as far as overly productive women are concerned. All right, so for those of you, let's just do a quick recap. Since this is our finale tonight, I want to share with you each night that I've done this, I've had 3 different truths that I've identified each night. So up to this point, we've had 9 truths. So here's what they are. So in our first session, here's what the 3 truths were. It was that we put undue pressure upon ourselves. The second thing I said is that we hear voices, and I want to remind everyone, no, you're not schizophrenic. You just deal with inner critics, and you have this inner board and this inner committee that talks to you and helps you to make your decisions. So we hear those voices, and we actually take heed to those voices. So we also talked about in our very first session that we carry around a lot of junk in our purses. So I know that some guys have jumped on. I know you guys don't carry purses, but what I have noticed about the gentlemen is that a lot of times you like to put stuff in your vehicles or in your wallets. So same principle applies. All right, so that was our first session that we talked about that. The second session, which was June the 1st, we had 3 different truths, and those truths were that, number 1, we have pre-existing conditions that need to be healed. So all of us, every day when we interact, we bring with us these emotional filters. I see those hearts and those thumbs up. Thank you. Love you guys. So, you know, we come to the table every day in every situation, and we have these filters, we apply them. Sometimes we don't realize how much they really are impacting the way that we show up. Hey, Nisha, thank you for those hearts. So the second truth from our second session was that we're harder on ourselves than we are others. So we talked a lot about perfectionism in that particular session, and I had a revelation myself that I would rather be effective than perfective. So that was a good takeaway and a learning, and I heard from a couple of others of you that you said that too. Hi there. So the other thing in session 2 was we talked about we are our biggest threat to our own sanity and health. So many times we want to look to the environment around us, and we want to look at that environment. We want to say, it's because of those people or that situation or that circumstance that this is happening to me, and this is why I'm having this problem. But you know, and a lot of times it's the way that we perceive things that really makes the difference. So we're going to talk a bit about perception tonight in the 3 new truths that I have for you. So in the third session, the one that we did last week, which was June the 8th, the 3 truths that we had for that week was that we create stories that impact how we view things. We create stories that impact how we view things, and then I added a little yucky thing on there, and it was like, and we pick our scabs. So when I say that, I mean that a lot of times when we've been hurt, or you know, we've had a situation, we create a story about it in our heads, and then we have a tendency to want to relive that. So it's just like, I've got this scratch on my arm, and I want you to know that I've not picked any of my scabs, but, sometimes we're just like this. We'll just be picking at it, picking at it, picking at that story. And, it doesn't ever seem to heal. So that's something that we have to work on. And then we also struggle when it comes to establishing and keeping boundaries. This was so funny. I got so much feedback about how at the start of our last session, I was talking about boundaries, and my daughter comes barreling into the room and wants the computer, which was quite hysterical. Yep, I'm getting a lot of love on that. Yeah. Getting a lot of love, yeah. So she was very cute coming in here, and then we had a long talk afterwards about, maintaining boundaries and that we can always talk later. So, yeah. And the third truth from last week was we get respect when we start respecting ourselves. This one's a really important one that we talked about, because a lot of times we will put ourselves last, and I know the last shall be first, and we want to honor other people, but one thing that we don't want to do is we don't always want to be last and be a doormat. And when we treat ourselves like that, then other people really can't respect us. So they really respect us based on, how we treat ourselves. So those were all of the truths that we dealt with over the last 3 weeks, and those have been pretty powerful. So this week, yay, we've got some new ones. But before we go there, those of you who have been with me through all of the sessions so far, you know that I like to ask you, hey, what have been your job titles this week? And I've had a few new job titles in addition to the ones that I've already shared with you. So please feel free as you go along. Share your job titles. If you've had something that you've been doing all week and you can shore it up to a title, then bring it on. So I can say that my biggest job title this week has been Queen of the Discombobulation. I have been, or Disco Bob. If I were a guy, I'd be Disco Bob, because it just seems like everything has just been discombobulated, and we just have those weeks, and thank you. Somebody there feels me. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, and I feel like I've been juggling a lot and trying to squeeze a lot in, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact is because I've decided I'm going on vacation. Yes, I am going with the family. We have made a decision that it's time for a break, especially after our dog Jovi ran off and we were missing her for 2 days. I said, that's it. We're taking a break, and rest is more important than money. So we've made that decision, so I'm excited about that. So the other job title I've had this week is the ADHD mom. So I've been trying to, it's really interesting to be working at home, being an entrepreneur and having your own business, and then your kid is out of school and you're living in a neighborhood where there aren't other kids, and we're in that position right now until we get moved into our new house. But it's been tough for Mackenzie, and so I've been trying to crank out work and pay attention to her, and sometimes I've just been looking at her, staring at her, and not hearing what she's saying because the wheels are still turning on whatever the email was that I just read. So, if any of you have that where people are trying to talk to you and you just can't because you're trying to process the day, I'm there with you. Also, I have been the director of entertainment and circus acts. So, Lisa, you must be aware of many hats. I know that you are. And okay, Nisa wants to go on vacation with me. Thank you. Let's load up. I've got plane tickets, but we can load up a van. All right. So anybody have any special job titles that you've had? Has anybody been a cat herder? Or how about you have been a conflict resolution expert? Or you've been, let's see, what other kinds of jobs? Like data analyst. Yeah, we wear a lot of different hats, right? And like I said in our last session, that when we think about all of the things that we do and we're overly productive, it really does help to just sit down and think of how to capture that and make sense of it. You know, what have I been doing? Where have I been spending my time all week? And how would I sum that up in a title? Because it really helps you to say, okay, I'm going to wear this hat this week. I'm going to put this hat down. So speaking of hats that Lisa mentioned. All right. So, you know, the other thing is, oh, Susan Jacobs joined. Hi, Susan. All right. I want to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to start with our very first truth for tonight. And one thing that you're going to notice about the 3 truths tonight is they are very positively focused. Tonight is really important because tonight is about empowerment and realizing that you are empowered. And if you're in corporate America or you're in the business world, you hear that all the time, and it sounds kind of cheesy. And oh, we've got to empower our people, and it becomes a cultural term that we use. But the truth is that you are empowered, and I'm going to talk to you about what that looks like and why you're empowered and how you can really take hold of that empowerment that you actually have. All right. So who is ready to hear the very first truth for tonight? Raise your hand. Yay! All right. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So the very first truth for tonight is that women are powerful. Now, I don't want you to just take this in at a surface level. I want this to soak with you. All right? Just let it soak. Women are powerful. So some of you may be having trouble with that. You may be saying, oh, I know that. You know, I know that in my head. Yeah, we're powerful. Yeah, I see powerful women all the time. But I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you being powerful. The problem is that we tend to downplay our power. And one way that we do that is that if someone gives us a compliment, and recognizes that we did something well, we tend to throw qualifiers at it or something that really diminishes what we've done or minimizes what we've done. So, for example, if someone gives you a compliment and they say, wow, Karen, you look beautiful today. And is your first thought to say, well, this old hairdo, I just got my hair cut. It's not really anything great, so you start minimizing that. This low battery, that's scary. All right. Yeah, so the thing about it is you're powerful and you've got to embrace the power that you have. So you're not designed to be a doormat. And a lot of times we get some pre-existing conditions that get in the way of us expressing our power or stepping into our power. And those pre-existing conditions might be that we've always been taught that, we just have to be in complete humility. And I believe in being humble. I believe in humility. And I think that, it's a very powerful characteristic of someone who is authentic. But what that's not saying is that you are just laying down and let everyone and everything take precedence over you taking care of yourself. Because if you're a car and you run out of gas, you're not going to go anywhere. So you've got to have power. You've got to have fuel. And that does not happen by just laying down and being a doormat. So you can express power in a lot of different ways. It's not just about strong-arming. It's not about being a bully or overdoing it, being overly aggressive, although some people associate that with power. That's not really it. Power, it can be very powerful when you're silent. And if you're silent for the right reasons, not being silent because you're afraid. Hi, Jennifer Baker. But there's power in silence when you feel compelled to talk too much. And you have the discipline to hold yourself back and actually listen to someone else. That is extremely powerful. There's also power in speaking up. When you see that something needs to be spoken about, when you see that you need to stand up for something that's right, there is so much power in that. Also, power is about being able to balance yourself in your responses. So what happens, you get lopsided when you start relying on one method of showing up powerfully. So if you're quiet all of the time, then that diminishes your power. If you're speaking up all the time, then that diminishes your power. So that is that. All right, and it looks like my hubby just called in. So hi, hubby. It's good to see you. I know you're upstairs, and I will come visit you soon. So under the truth of women are powerful, you also have the power to control your yes or no. And this is something that we struggle with, and Earlene is saying balance. It is about balance, and yes and no, you can apply that equation to yes and no. Are you saying yes all the time? Are you saying no all the time? So every time that you get out of balance with that and you're not really thoughtfully and intentionally thinking about that, then you lose your power. So you also have the power to choose your path. You have the power to choose your path, and sometimes we use the world as an excuse to say, oh, I can't do this because this obstacle is in the way. And it's something that I'm trying to teach my daughter, is that you really do have choices. You have choices to do one thing. And when you're always using the words, I can't do this, or I can't, what you're really saying is, well, I won't, or I don't want to see it that way. So be thinking about that. How often are you saying, I just can't, I can't, I can't? Let's shift that to say, here's what I'm choosing to do, or here's what I'm choosing not to do. So that's about taking control of your yes and your no. So power does not mean overly productive. It took me a long time to get this. You know, being overly productive, it doesn't give me more power. It doesn't give me more of anything except for a bunch of junk in my purse. For those of you who were on the first session, we talked about having junk in your purse. And that's exactly what being overproductive is. It just gives you a bunch of junk that you need to clear out so that you can be clear-headed and intentional and focused. So that power also represents restraint. Oh, that's a tough one, because a lot of times we just like to let our emotions fly. And there's power in practicing restraint and discipline. I learned that from my 21-day restrictive diet. Yeah, it sounds scary, but boy, it was great. It was so great. I'm still thinking about it, and I think I'm going to do a 5-day. Oh, I'm getting some love on that one. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to do a 5-day. I'm going to get my clarity back in order and do 5 days pretty soon. After I go on vacation, of course. So there's also power in authenticity. And this is one thing that's really important to me, is just being me. At 9 o'clock, I don't care that I'm a corporate talent expert and that I'm in my pajamas right now. What I care about is being me and being real for you so that you can hear my message. Because if I'm trying to be someone else and trying to talk big talk to you, you're not going to hear what I have to say, and you're not going to hear the message that's meant for you. So, so power in that. Let's see. I've been writing my book about the overly productive person and composing your soul, and one of the things that I talked about in there is that I have this mission about I break people out of prison, and we create our own prisons, and it really is this power that we don't realize that we have, that we actually have the key to our own prisons. And so being powerful is really unlocking the chains that are on your wrists and the prison that you're in, and just getting yourself free. You have the ability to do anything. I'm going to tell you, I mean, you can jump off a cliff. You have the freedom to do that. Instead of waiting for someone else to come and unlock the key, you have the power to do this yourself, and it's you live in choice. Oh man, I am loving those hearts. So yay, love those hearts. All right. So, oh gosh, you know what? I had this huge revelation this week. I have this shirt that says, "We will change the world," and I'm very proud of that, or I've been very proud of that shirt. And so I wore it to the gym one day this week, and as I was on the treadmill, I was watching all of the politics that were going on, and you know, just thinking about all of the struggles that are going on in the world. And it just hit me in my head and in my heart that, hey, it's not about me. It's not about going out and changing the world. I got to change me. Change me, and then the world will change. So if you change you, then the world's going to change. Man, that was big, and that is something to just let it soak. You're not going to change the rest of the world. You're not going to change the rest of the world. You can change you, and then the world will change. You're going to start to look at it differently. You're going to start to interact differently. And man, it is so powerful when you get that revelation that, you know, that you have so much power. So that's our first truth for tonight. I love that one. That was juicy and yummy. Okay. So, the second truth that we have is that women are influential. Let it soak. Women are influential. You are influential. Yeah. Oh, Lord, I am getting some love on this one. Thank you so much. You are influential. So, this really hit home with me this week as well. You know, I mean, if you're a mother, raise your hand. If you're a mother, give me thumbs up, because mothers are, God has to just give us mothers some extra love here. But, you know, when you're a mother, whether you realize it or not, yep, we got some moms on here. Whether you realize it or not, you are influencing every day your children in what you speak and what you do, what you don't do, how you're paying attention to them or how you're not, or how you're reacting when they're hurting. They are taking all of that in, and they are processing that, and they are recycling that. You have influence. And I realize this today, you know, this can be very good, and this can be negative sometimes, because nobody is 100% happy and joyful all the time. And if you are, then I recommend that you see a therapist, because there's something wrong with you. But, you know, this happened today, as a matter of fact. So Mackenzie she is just a kid who loves to be around other kids and likes to be active and likes to do lots of stuff. So being in transition like we are has really been a challenge for her. And so today she was really struggling, and those of you who have heard of Murphy's Law, you know that Murphy's Law says that if anything can happen, it will. Well, you know, that's something that I've always fought off, is Murphy's Law. And Susan, thank you so much. That's an awesome thing to say. I appreciate that, and I received that compliment. So Mackenzie was having a rough morning, and she ran into the table. She scratched her leg. The dogs jumped up on her. We were sitting at lunch, and she was eating a corn dog, and half of it fell onto the ground, and the dog snatched it up and took it away and chewed it all up. And Mackenzie had just had enough. She says, this is the worst day ever. And she went into her room and she just cried. She just was so upset about everything that was happening. And so I went and I comforted her for a little while, and I didn't want to give her too much attention because I want her to be resilient. I want her to bounce back up. And she, I went into my office and I started working again. And so finally she came in there and here in this very office, and she was looking straight at me and just crying. She says, I just am feeling bad. And at that moment I realized, you know what? I just realized that I don't want my kid to grow up the same way that I was thinking, that Murphy's Law is the reason for everything that happens to you. And so I stopped what I was doing and I said, you know what? God is not the author of confusion. And what's happening here is, there's a lot of confusion going on. So we're not going to take that. And so I told her, I said, well, let's talk to God. So we talked to God. As soon as we got done talking to God, the phone rang, and it was one of her little friends who wanted to play with her. And Mackenzie, she instantly changed. And it was a very pivotal and powerful moment for her, because she realized that, no, we don't have to, we don't have to be our lives don't have to be dictated by Murphy's Law or all of the circumstances or the environment around that. We have someone who can help us, and we can stop what we're doing and focus and recognize what's going well. And we can, for some of us, I don't know about you, you may not believe in God, but I'm going to be talking about God because that's just who I am and that's a part of my life. But I realized that bringing God into the equation made it so much better for us, and it was powerful. So I'm just telling you that because everything that you're doing and everything that you react to, you are influencing the people around you. So I want to get a little bit more workplacey when I talk about influence for those of us who are in the business world, trying with our careers and everything. One of the things that I talk about in the School of Executive Presence is that there are 5 influencers. And one of those is your look. One is how you show up with your body language and your nonverbals. One is the way that you think. Another is the sound of your voice. And then the 5th one are the words that you speak. So all 5 of these things really impact how people receive you and how you're able to influence them. So just take a moment to think about this. As far as your look, when I talk about influencing with your look, let me just tell you, you do not have to be, this size 0, 6 foot tall model, all right? Really, your look is, when we talk about influencing, we're just talking about being neat and clean and presentable, and that's it. So you can simply influence somebody by the way that you look and the way that you carry yourself. And then your body language. So are you a person who is always crossing your arms all the time? And what does that say? It says that, you may be saying, oh, I'm just being comfortable, but to other people it's saying, hey, she's closed. So that's an influencer. How you think. So you may notice that I'm a big picture, conceptual kind of gal. I like metaphors, I like stories. And then you have other people who are more concrete. So they like to rule by the 5 senses. They like data, facts, history, and they want to hear the reasons and the research behind everything. And so we all have different ways that we influence in that way. And then the sound of your voice. So think about your voice. When you come home and you see your significant other, how does your voice sound? Are you wanting to have a positive relationship, and does your voice reflect that when you see your husband? Are you like, hi, I'm so glad to see you today? Or is it, hey, what's up? What do you want for supper? Yeah, so the way that your voice sounds and the tone that you use really makes all of the difference. And here's an interesting thing to think about. Your tone and the way that you talk influences you. So if you're talking in a negative tone, it's like creating this cycle, like this snowball effect of, just like if you're being negative, like, oh gosh, I hate this. This is just the worst thing ever. Well, your brain is hearing that and processing it and just recycling it over and over and over again. Yeah, so some people feel me on that. Thank you. So also the words that you speak really, one thing that I talk about is that words are actually only 7% of what people take in about you. So, like when you were joined in on this call, you were probably looking around. You might be looking at my hair, what color of shirt I had on, and you had to get through all of that before you started really listening to me. And even before you heard my words, you were listening to the way that I was saying the words and the way that I was presenting myself. So that's something to be mindful of, and you really can influence in a positive way based on those factors. So let's see, how else are we influential? I would love to hear some of your ideas, even though I can't actually hear you on the call, but I can see you. So I would love to see what your thoughts are. You know, how do you influence? Or how are you influenced? How do, you know, what is it that gets you going and motivated when you're dealing with someone? You know, I'll share a quick story with you. This is my Mary Martha story of the week. We talked about this, I think it was 2 sessions back, but you know, there's Mary and Martha, and Martha's the one who's always going around doing stuff, and boy, I fight that like crazy. And then Mary's like the one who's sitting and soaking in the words and taking in the peace. And so, you know, we have Mary Martha moments. So last night, I was faced with the choice of Mary Martha. And I was really excited about the vacation that we were going to go on. And so being a doer, I just got on the computer, I started looking, and I get a lot of pleasure of just searching and thinking in terms of possibility. That's how my brain is wired. I like to think about, man, where could we stay? What's the best deal? And I'm very frugal, and I love to get bargains. So I'm looking at everything and just trying to figure out where we're going to go for vacation. And I'd been doing that all night, and so the hubby had gone to bed, and it was raining. And those of you who are in Indiana, you experienced the big rainstorm that we had last night, and man, it was awesome. And my mom has this great sunroom, and it just sounds so fantastic, and it's so peaceful. And I was being influenced by the sound of that rain. It was like calling me into the sunroom. And it was like Mary was in there saying, come in here and relax. Just be peaceful. It's okay to have some downtime. Well, Martha's over here on the computer saying, oh, now you know you got to get over here and you've got to find some place to stay. And, you know, just come play with me for a little while longer. Come play with Martha. We'll find your beach house. So this battle's going on in my mind. And I really had to make a choice, and we live in choice. I had to make a choice of, you know, was I going to listen to Mary or was I going to listen to Martha? So what I did was I did a hybrid, because I'm still working on my overly productive tendencies, just like some of you are. And so I went in to the sunroom and sat and listened to the rain. It was really wonderful. And then this thought entered my head, well, I am going to look at one more place and then I'm going to go to bed. So I held to that. I disciplined myself. I came back in here, checked out one other place. I was in here about 5 minutes, and then I went on to bed. And so sound influenced me, but I also had, you know, some of what I call my written code, the way that I'm made up was calling me to come and be a little bit more productive, just a little bit more for the day. So, all right, so let's get to our third and final truth for tonight. So our third truth is that women have a mission, and it's on the inside, waiting to get out. So have you ever thought about the fact that you have a mission? Some of you may be just going through the day-to-day and trying to get through the day-to-day, but you really do have a mission. I know several of you on this call, and I know that you've been through a lot of pain. Some of you have been experiencing physical pain, excruciating pain. Some of you have had some emotional pain, and some of you have just, you know, you've had pain. So the thing about it is all of that pain is not in vain. And all of that is designed for you to turn it into a mission so that you can encourage other people. I want to tell you that many of us have been through some really difficult situations, and I'll tell you that there are some things that get in the way of us living that mission and really discovering. Most of us don't even know what our mission is, but some of us have a clue, and some of us have gotten on the path to that. And I'm just going to tell you that some of us say, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or I can't live my mission because, I'm a martyr. And I'm going to tell you that martyrdom, it's a cop-out. Nobody is stopping you but you. You have the ability to break yourself out of prison, out of your own personal prison, and live your mission. So just a quick story to solidify that for you. I mean, when I was many years ago, I'm going to be 50 this year. That's back many years ago when I was working on my undergraduate degree. I was married, and it was a difficult marriage, and my husband at the time, he did not want me to go to college, and I was going to take my last exam. It was raining out. I lived out in the country. It was very muddy, and anyway, he took my keys and he threw them out in the yard out in the storm so that I wouldn't go and take my final exam. And so I ran out there, and I slipped. I had a pink sweatsuit on. I slipped. I had mud all up the side of it, but I found my keys. I got in my car and I drove to my college, and I took that exam, and I got a B on that exam. But I was determined. There was nothing that was going to stop me. And I have a lot of stories like that, and I know that you do too. And I just want to encourage you, don't play the martyr, because the martyr will murder your mission. Also, I would say that self-sacrifice is overrated. If you're going to sacrifice, you can sacrifice to God, and if He tells you to do that, that's fine. But check your balance. Check your balance. Don't get overdrawn, and don't get overdrawn on just always giving, and never receiving, because it's good to give and to receive. All right. Everything that you've been through is getting filtered into a mission. Everything is turning into a mission. So your pain leads to sharing. The more pain you go through, somebody you to activate your mission. Somebody is waiting for you to activate your mission. In order to do that, you've got to practice power. You've got to practice influence, and you've got to step into that mission. So those are the 3 truths that I have for you tonight. So those 3 truths I want you to really soak up, think about. If you want to come back and watch this session again on the website, then do it and gain some revelation in it. Hi there, I am back. And we actually got through a pretty good chunk of our Facebook Live for 3 truths about the overly productive woman. So a couple of things happened. First of all, we had some connectivity issues here, which I hate to say it, but it's Comcast. Yeah, so we have Comcast. And then also my phone just kind of petered out, ran out of battery juice, so I had to charge it up for a couple minutes. And I thought that I was charging it, but it was not charging. So if you're here and you're rejoining and you want to hear the tail end of this session, then I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to join. But in the meantime, just to recap a couple of things that I talked about. First of all, I talked about tonight's 3 truths as really being positively focused. So up to this point in our previous 3 sessions, we were focusing on really the things that women struggle with and some of the things that get in our way of really being able to show up well and have balance and have calm and to be able to compose our souls. So tonight, I really these truths tonight are very, they're very important in your lives right now, all of you who are listening. And first of all, the first one that we talked about is that, the first one that I talked about is that women are powerful. And we talked about why women are powerful and how sometimes we give our power away. So it really does require balance. And that just sounds so surfacey and cheesy, but really, if you think about it, it does. You got to balance your yes and no's. You've got to balance the, what you allow into your life and what you keep out of your life. And we also, so the second truth that I talked about was that women are influential, and you are influencing. You're creating mini me's around you. If you're a parent, you know that what they're doing is they're watching you. They're not really talking a lot about what you're doing, but they're taking it in and they're recycling it. And really what they're doing is they're throwing it back at you. And they're taking on your characteristics. So it's just something to be mindful of. And then we also talked about influencing at work, in the business world, influencing other people, and that there are 5 major influencers that we can practice to show up and be heard and seen and valued and celebrated. And then the third truth that we talked about tonight is really around your mission, that you really do have a mission inside of you. And that mission is, it's just waiting to come to life. You may not even know what that mission is, but it really comes from all of your life experiences, all of the pain that you've experienced, all of the suffering that you've gone through, all of the great things that have happened to you, and all of these different things come together, and they're really designed to make you unique in the world. And you are designed to really encourage other people, and you have a target audience. So the one thing that I wanted to make sure that you heard was that I'm inviting you to our July 28th Women's Retreat. And this is going to be happening in Indianapolis, Indiana. It is going to be a full-day retreat exclusively for women. And the day is going to be power-packed. So everything that we've been talking about in the Overly Productive Woman, we're going to address some of these things. And we're going to make it fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And it's going to be very interactive. It's going to be deep. You're going to be able to connect with other women, and you're going to be able to connect with me on a much deeper level than what we're able to do on Facebook Live. And I'm just excited about that part, giving women an opportunity to really talk about the things that are impacting them and what's on their minds, and how do you deal with situations in the workplace? How do you deal with situations at home? So we'll have fun, and we'll do it in a really creative way. We have 2 sponsors. Damsel in Defense is going to be there with us, and then also the Prather Practice is going to be there. We're going to give free chair massages to the ladies there. So if you have been needing a good shoulder rub, then this is the retreat for you. We're going to be doing a wine and canvas in the afternoon. So one of the things that I love to do that I haven't talked about is I'm an artist. And I'm a mixed media artist. My mother is a fine traditional artist, but we're going to take some time in the afternoon for you to create your vision on canvas about what you want your life to be and what you think your mission is. So you're really going to take everything from the whole day and put it onto that canvas so that you can have a reminder and a symbol of who you are and what value you bring. And if you're not a wine drinker, that's fine. You don't have to do that. We can just do canvas, and so that will be your option. But I want to be with you, and I want to be able to talk with you, and I want to be able to encourage you. I want to live my mission, because my mission is really about you. It's about helping you to break free from the things that are getting in your way, those invisible bars that you put around yourself every day that keeps you from living the most effective you can as a woman. So I want to help you to break out of that. I want to help set you free from that, and I want to be able to encourage you and fill you up with lots of love and attention, and I want to listen to you. When was the last time that you really felt like you were heard and that you were listened to? That's so powerful. I mean, I remember last week I was talking with someone and I really felt like they just were getting me, that they were listening to me. And so in this retreat that we're going to do, you're going to be heard. You're going to be listened to. So also in the retreat, the good thing is that you're going to be fed. You're going to be fed breakfast. You're going to have a fabulous lunch. You're going to have the camaraderie with the ladies there. We'll have all kinds of different women from different walks of life. So you'll get to hear some wisdom, walk through some experiences together, and it is going to be very powerful. I can't wait. I know I'm going to have fun. I'm leading it, but I can't wait to see you all have fun when you participate in the retreat. So if you do want to register for the retreat, I will give that information out on Facebook to you. If you are a member of the Bright Bulb community, then I will also post it there. So if you're not a member of Bright Bulb, that we are on Facebook, and all you have to do in the search engine is look for Bright Bulb Community, and you can become a member of that. A lot of times I'll give free resources. We'll do a little bit of coaching on there. We like to have fun, so it's a good community of people who come together and just share resources and talk about life. All right. Well, that is it for me, and I just thank you so much for participating in this podcast series, The 3 Truths About the Overly Productive Woman. Be sure to go and revisit these on the website at www.schoolofep.com. If you'll click on the events tab will take you right to a series of things that you can choose from, and you'll see Overly Productive Woman on there, where you can get all 4 of the Facebook Live videos and all of the truths that we've discussed. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to just be with you these last 4 Thursday nights. I have been honored, and it has really enriched my life, so I'm grateful for you in so many ways. So have a fantastic evening. I appreciate you all.